Next presenter is Anjali.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all of you. Today's my presentation topic is the restoration period. The restoration, we all know that the restoration, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible. Please continue.
The restoration timeline was 1616 to 1700. Just a second, sir. First of all, the why is the called the period of the restoration? The monarchy was restored, and the Charles II, the son of the Charles I, who had been the defeated and beheaded, came back to England from his exile in the France and became the king. It is also called the age. It is also called the age, called the age of the dragon, because the dragon was dominating the most representative literature figure of this age. The second, the major historical and the political background. The major historical. The first, the theater ban was lifted in 1660. That time, so there was establishment of as soon as the Charles II was restored the throne, and he lifted the theater was a ban in 1660 as full screen as well as the no in the Civil War and the Commonwealth period. Theatre are the banned. The second, the establishment of the Royal Society. That time, so there was the establishment of the Royal Society in this Restoration Age to promote the rational inquiry and the research and the development of a science. The third, the Great Fire of London, and the then the almost 300 houses burned in Great Fire in London. The for the political parties, the time the two political parties, the Whigs and the Tory, Whigs, the party wanted to the curb and the power of the monarchy. They were instead the benefit of the well-being and the common man. And the Tory, they believing in the rights of the king and completely support to the monarchy. The religion conflict at the time of the Charles II was Anglican, and the time the Restoration Age, the Puritan ideals were completely ideals are completely rejected in 1665. The James II Puritan ideal was completely brother of the Charles II, became the new king of England, and now James II was a Baptist, which means the Roman Catholic. The James II started the revealing is a Roman Catholic, prejudiced, and therefore in 3 years entire the nation went against him. And the 1668 there was bloodless and glorious revolution to Protestant William the revolution. The Protestant William and Mary of Orange took an throne from the James II. In 1689, the William III became a new ruler of the England. The sixth, the French influence. In 1668, the revolution of the occurred, and the William and the Mary Orange took the throne of this James II, and William III became a new king in 1689 AD. The seventh, the French influence. The French influence as the Charles II has spent most of his year exile in the France, and he developed a rich taste in the French literature. And that time during the Restoration age, Shakespeare became a completely known as a popular. Instead, the Restoration Age writers started imitating French writers and playwrights to please King Charles II. Um, the first new classicism. The writer of the Restoration Age is the turn of the great classical writer, especially the Latin writers for the inspiration. Latin writers for inspiration, and this habit the further depends during the Augustan and the Neoclassical age. The second, the French influence. The French influence, as we have already said, the Charles II is a rich taste, and in literature has a great impact on the Restoration drama, especially in a comedy. The comedy of manners originated in the France gained the popular in a Restoration age. That time, in the comedy of the objective was the show manners in the Aristotelical comedy, and that time the commedia dell'arte and art of the first gained popular in Italy, and then during the Restoration age, the Restoration comedy be criticized in the identity of the permissiveness. The third, the tragedy. The tragedy. In the tragedy, the French and the classical model were the combined in the product a new type of a play called a heroic play. And that time, the heroic play called a heroic tragedy was a famous. The example of the John Dryden, the tyrannic love. The fourth, the prose. The prose is Matthew Arnold said that the Restoration age marked as the beginning of a modern English prose. The prose became popular because it was the age of the intellectualism and the rationalism. The poetry. The Restoration Age is a period. The most popular poetry forms. This age was a lyric narrative, or this age was a lyrics narrative poetry, narrative poetry, the odes and the satires. The various circumstances made this perfect for satirical writing. John Dryden, the Absalom and Achitophel is a great example of a political satire, and the Max Lincoln is a great example of a personal satire. The John Dryden is the major writer of this age. Why that? So that's why this age is age the called as a the age of the Dryden. The most important writer of the Restoration Age, and he wrote the poetry, drama, and prose. Some of the notable works of the John Dryden, the poems Absalom and Achitophel, the Medal, the Mac Plankin, the Religion Lively, the Hind and the Panther, and the song St. Severine Day, Alexander Feast, and the most notable works of Indian play, the All of for Love, the Tyrannic Love, and the Indian Empire, the Conquest Grand, and the Aurangzeb. The most notable prose work of John Dryden is the essay of dramatic poesy. And after then, the Restoration writer, in the Restoration writer, the comedy writers, tragedy writers, prose writers, the comedy writers, the William Congreve, the William Wycherley, the George Etheridge, the Sir John Vanbrugh, George Carrequ, Thomas Shadwell. There are the comedy writers in the Restoration Age, the tragedy writers, the Nathaniel Lee and the Thomas Otway. There are a famous tragedy writer in this age, poet writer, the Samuel Butler. He also known his poem The Hudibras. The prose writer, the John Bunyan. He was John Bunyan, William Temple, and the Lord Halifax. The John Bunyan, also known as the Pilgrim Progress. the diary writer. That time the diary writing started, and the Samuel Pepys and John Evelyn was a famous diary writer. The Samuel Pepys diary started. He was started his diary writing in January 1st, 1660 to May 31st, 1669, and John Evelyn in his diary contains the moving incidents such as the Great Fire. Thank you.